There it is.
Emmanuel Forbes.
All right.
All right.
You called it. First and foremost, I think it's been heavily rumored that we were going to go after Emmanuel Forbes. And here we are. So this is a junior from Mississippi State. Okay. Hey, listen, ballhawk of a player. Okay. We're talking tons of interceptions. You look at the other guys at the top. Joey Porter Jr. had 1 pick. Deonte Banks had 2 picks. This is career numbers.
Yeah.
And I believe it's 14 or 16 picks for Emmanuel Forbes.
He set the record with 6 pick sixes in college.
So there you go.
Tiny guy, but a ball hawk. And I think the thing that we've been looking at on defense is we need playmakers, right? Like we have enough we need guys that can change the course of a game with a turnover or with this, that, and the other. And I think that that's what they look at when they see Forbes. Because I mean, that's the thing. That's the one thing you've heard about Forbes. It's the only thing I've really heard about Forbes. I never really did a huge deep dive on Forbes. I should have. I just didn't expect the draft board to shake out the way it did. And if I'm being completely honest, like if I look at this, all right, maybe this is the guy that they want. Maybe it makes sense as far as getting the ball hawk. But I'm also of the idea that Washington probably did not see the draft board happening the way it did. And what they did was rely on the guy that they want, which to me, okay. I don't think it's necessarily right or wrong. It's okay. You rank your guys, but if you have a dude that you select, now thing is, like, if you think, all right, pick 16, this is what we have. These are who we think are going to be around. This is our top guy for this area. Compared to, I have a board with the best players ranked. Did they go to the big board, players ranked, or did they stick with what they thought was going to happen at 16? Because I don't think anyone was of the idea that Forbes was not going to be here for them.
Right. 16. Oh, man. The Patriots pick is already in, too. I just want to see this real quick.
Oh, shit. Yeah, they're wasting no time. Come on. Do Will Levis. Gonzalez.
Immediately.
This scares me.
Immediately. That and so, right, because we trust the Patriots, right?
That scares the shit out of me.
That was the fastest pick of the draft, by the way. Okay, we just started talking about this, and they immediately were like, Gonzalez, can't believe he's there. So, and here's the thing about Emmanuel Forbes. Yes, he's a ball hawk, and that's great. Do you know how much he weighs?
166.
166. Okay.
He's tiny.
So he is tiny. The other corners are around 200. 190, 200. Think about the receivers that, like, okay, I'm just thinking about AJ Brown, for example.
Yep.
That scares me. I would like a touch more physicality there. Maybe a Devontae Smith, you know what? Fine, we can do that. Hey, listen, this is an honest reaction. This is what we're doing.
I don't like how quickly New England made this pick. It makes me feel,
and it factors into this spot.
Absolutely does.
We were talking.
I'm looking at Gonzalez
before this. Gonzalez is right there.
I'm like, I like this kid. What the fuck?
According to The Athletic had Christian Gonzalez as their #1 corner. Christian Gonzalez at number 5 overall. He was their number 5 overall prospect.
I don't understand. Well, I guess I do understand that if you have your guy, it's your guy. But if I'm looking at any ranking of anything, cornerback wise, Forbes isn't ahead of Gonzalez.
He's 5th, according to The Athletic. 35 overall.
If you're gonna go corner, go with the better corner, right? Like that's. But if they like one dude more than the other, then who am I to criticize? I don't know. But
I've never seen Bill Belichick make a pick faster in his tenure.
Did he just flash that he had blue and red under his suit?
As in he knew?
Did he know?
He couldn't have known this.
It was meant to be. Christian Gonzalez is a future Hall of Famer. You heard it here first.
You know what I love about this is we were talking about Emmanuel Forbes. I think our reaction was, okay, let's trust the process. And you go, hey, if it's on your board and you're confident, I think you should do that. Hold on, let's see the Patriots pick for a moment. That was fast. That was Christian Gonzalez. All right, here's the thing. Yeah, I know you got your guy, but it just immediately transition.
Yeah, all right. So I'm finally pulling Twitter back out, and
Okay.
JP Finley I think sums it up tremendously.
Go ahead.
If you look at the last two first round picks, Washington doesn't care about consensus and sticks with their board.
Correct.
Jamin and Jahan did it again tonight with Forbes. We will see. That's it.
Yeah.
6'1",
Best way to put it.
165.
It's thin.
Means he's probably 157.
Right, because they do. It's similar to the NBA with height. They'll just add a couple inches for you.
They do the same thing with height in the NFL too. Like,
Yeah.
he's probably 5'8", 158. Like, being completely 100 buck on it.
Okay, so based on what I know about Forbes, ball hawk, as we've discussed, and has obviously for that reason great anticipation skills. I think there are certainly going to be moments where he bites on a double move, for example. But what corner isn't susceptible to that? So I'm looking forward to having Emmanuel Forbes over here. We look at the Jahan Dotson pick from last year. For a second, I know you're reading through Twitter and you're going, "Oh my goodness!"
I don't think you heard what you asked what cornerback doesn't bite, and I said Sauce Garner.
Oh well, I did miss that. I did miss that. But the thing is, again, Jahan Dotson last season, there was a first, second grade on him. I think everyone's pretty pleased with how he's turned out so far, right? I mean, he's clearly shown a nose for the end zone. He's clearly shown that he can hold on to the football and he makes difficult catches. So you have to therefore trust the coaching staff when it comes to the top of their board, in my opinion. We have a lot of defensive minds in there. We've talked about this over and over again. Jamin Davis did have a rough rookie year. Sophomore year, I thought was very good, especially relative to what expectations were. So I think they get the benefit of the doubt here. Emmanuel Forbes is the guy. Is there a chance, KDot, that they did not anticipate Christian Gonzalez, again, who everyone had way high on their mock drafts? Is there a chance they did not anticipate him being there? I would say yeah.
That is guaranteed.
I would agree. But did they make the right pick? Time will tell. Time will tell.
Like, you hope it works out, as you can only do on draft night. There's certain. I did get a couple texts from some other people that I trust their opinion on football, and they're like, "Fuck, we were kind of hoping Forbes fell," so that makes me feel a little bit better. But now I'm realizing I'm just I'm a fucking lemming, and now just reacting based on other people's reactions to tell how I feel, because apparently I just don't know. To me, I look at this and I'm like, okay, if I'm looking at the board and I'm looking at these things, I wonder, did they even pick up the phone to see if they could draft, if they could get out of this? The way this board is shaping up right now, there are a lot of names and a lot of dudes that were available that you can get good value for on a team in which you need guys. And the way that I think the listening even to you and Ben Robinson doing this last week, and listening to guys on like Ref the District, or you go on Twitter enough, I think the general consensus was this: the right choice at 16, if available to Washington, was to go offensive line. It was the right thing to do. It's the thing that makes the most sense. You got a young quarterback. You got defenses in the NFC East that are kind of scary. The thing that you do before you know whether or not you got the quarterback is to build the trenches up, right? So makes the most sense. Right. The way the draft came out tonight, none of the guys that were that we thought were going to be options around 16, none of them are there. You can't reach that point. So, okay, cool, understood. Yeah. So now you look at, all right, what's the next best position in need? I think most people would say consensus cornerback. So I look at that and I say, okay. So if I look at cornerback, I look at, okay, where do I have guys ranked compared to where it is the draft position is? This is where you look at value, right? And I know I said at the beginning of this, I don't really care about it, but you got to. You got to look at it to some degree, especially if you're looking at least certain positions. Fuck it, I'm unraveling, bro. I'm unfucking.
No, that's all.
I feel like Will Levis right there, who I want to give a hug to. God damn.
He did this to himself. If rumors are true, that he was telling people that he was going to go this high His agent sold him dreams, is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sucks for him, but
Dude, listen, 14 interceptions over the course of a college career is pretty incredible.
I'm a dude that likes
In the SEC, by the way.
that frame at 166 in a
I get
league
it.
in which you got to be able to tackle.
Put him in the weight room, son. It's that simple. And you're just gonna have to work on that.
In the weight room, is he still the same ball hawk, right? So it's like
I imagine he will be. They'd work on the speed as well. He runs a 4.35. So I mean, quick. I'm looking forward to Emmanuel Forbes over here. Look, he hasn't played down to football. None of these guys have played it down to football. 100%. We don't know. It comes down. We just talked about it. It's landing spot. It's coaching. Those are the two things that matter. If these guys think, hey, he's already got the skills that we need in terms of getting the interceptions, tipping balls, stuff like that, that we've got our guy, there's nothing more to think about. Yep. It's that simple. Yeah, Christian Gonzalez, everyone's hype about him. But I do think there's also something to coaching staffs wanting to show they're smarter. The baby draft analysts smarter than the general consensus and stuff like that. So I think they go, hey, we know our guy is Forbes, is what it is. That's sort of my final verdict here. The guy's a ball hawk. This coaching staff feels they know what they're doing based on their last 2 first-round picks. And I include Jamin Davis, by the way. I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I guess.
And the Patriots' speed at which they took Gonzalez did scare me. Yes, go ahead.
All this draft night reaction shit, you thought a fucking window. It doesn't matter.
Thanks for watching.
It doesn't matter at this. Yeah, thanks for watching. But
yeah,
it doesn't fucking matter. It's the same way. Here's what I know. I am now an Emmanuel Forbes fan, and same. I am rooting 100%. For him to absolutely succeed. I am hoping that our coaching staff and front office got the shit right, because I do believe a lot of times drafting is a bit of a crapshoot. There's so many variables. I'm hoping that the variables line up correctly for us, and we got a ball hawk playmaker on defense, the likes of which you can look around, like what Dallas has with Diggs or Parsons. We got our guy.
Yeah, completely agree. So that's the Emmanuel Forbes pick. Do we want to quickly touch on Chase Young and get to the comment mailbag?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do the whole thing. Should we do an intro now? No, I'm joking. We're in it.
We're in it. We're in it. Go ahead. What were your thoughts on not picking up Chase Young's 5th-year option?
One of those things where it's just like compared to the draft. Like, you've heard me time and time again leading up to the draft talk about how if it were me, I'm more in love with Michael Mayer. I'm more in love with Bijan Robinson, which was never a snowball chance in hell apparently of happening. But probably the wisest choice to make was a Darnell Wright, a cornerback, something like that, right? Probably the right choice. I look at this Chase Young thing and I say, I don't like it, but it might be the right choice. I don't like it because I feel as though during the Snyder era, we have a tendency of not necessarily taking care of our guys. And I feel as though this is one of those sort of situations. He's been hurt.
Right.
And that to me is like, if you still believe him in as a player, as a player, and he's just been hurt, you pick up the fucking option. But right now, you're in this prove it territory with him that I never like when it comes to guys that you draft, especially that high. You're either in or you're out on them. It reminds me a little bit about like when Ron Rivera first got here and they were trying to convince Trent Williams to come back. And in Ron Rivera's conversation with Trent Williams, he tells him, you need to prove something or prove yourself to the team. And Trent's like, who the fuck are you?
Right.
Like, what? And I get the situation's a little bit different. Trent Williams is already on his way to a Hall of Fame career. Chase Young has been, injury or not, a disappointment. And, well, you're not going to say or not. Injuries-wise and everything as far as what you're getting product on the field, a disappointment. And, but I just, to me, is like you back your guys. And I think you're going to be in a situation where I know we're still going to have options, but if you look at who we have under contract past next year on the defensive line, other than our top 2 guys, everybody as far as DN, they're up. Shaka Tony, who's a dude that I liked as far as a depth situation, is now suspended for the entire year because of gambling.
Right.
You've no idea what it is going to be like about Montez or Chase Young. You only get one franchise tag. Can't use it on both.
Yeah.
If you want to go and negotiate a long-term deal with either one, are they going to think that you did right by them? Are they going to think you believe in them if you have to sit down and negotiating table with any of them.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I also understand that we got a new ownership coming, and I don't know what the front office or anything is going to look like. Maybe this is one of those situations where you even look beyond this current coaching staff and say, we want to allow the next staff or our staff, if we get it, to make the decisions and not be held to anything when
Mhm.
there's a clean slate coming. I don't know, but I would say overall, I don't agree with not picking up the fifth year.
Yeah, I think we should have picked it up. I also now the see to me it felt like a no-brainer that we were going to pick it up. Just because you want to back your guys. Chase Young picked 2 overall defensive rookie of the year. His issue has been injuries, but when he's been on the field, even with the tail end of this last season, he showed more than enough to me that he's a very productive NFL player and also was our best lineman in the very first game back. So
Yep.
I think you just pick it up immediately. That's where I stand. The reason it didn't get picked up, this is speculation, but maybe they just think he needs a kick in the ass, frankly, from sort of an attitude perspective where they go, hey, he needs to do this. I am not in the building. I don't know. Personally, based on what I see, whatever he's doing is working when he's on the field. So I would have picked it up. And that's where I stand on that.
I
Go ahead.
agree. The only other thing that I'll say is that when looking at the numbers for Chase Young, I think people need to have a better understanding of who he is as a player, especially after the rookie season.
Hmm.
And what it is that they do on defense a lot is that if you look at the sack numbers that Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen are kind of putting up in the interior,
Hmm.
you start realizing that sometimes what's best called for a defensive end is not necessarily to go get the quarterback as much as it is to stop the run. And that
Hmm.
is something that I think is supremely underrated for Chase Young that does not get talked about enough is how well he does perform against the run. And it's
Hmm.
important to have on your team. If you've got guys that do so much as far as what we've talked about, I know I've talked about a lot, you have guys that almost look like mercenaries trying to get to the quarterback. It doesn't seem to be a cohesive with the unit as much as just get behind the line of scrimmage and try to get the quarterback. You can see in a lot of circumstances Chase Young having patience and knowing,
Hmm.
all right, I see some of these guys are going, I need to kind of stand firm or wait to see what it is progressing. And he's usually pretty good when he has been in there. Look at his PFF run grades year in, year out, regardless. It's been pretty fucking high.
Yeah. I think one other thing I just wanted to note is that if we look at Deron Payne, for example, that was another situation where it was like, hey, prove it to us. You proved it. You got paid. Maybe they point to that and
Yep,
say, hey, this is something we've done before and it's worked. And so this is why we're doing it.
that's right.
Almost don't take it personally. It's just we saw it work last year, literally last year, and he's here. And the same thing can absolutely be true for you too, Chase. Could be one of those
It's
things.
number 2 overall pick. It
Listen,
is.
I'm just trying to make sense of it. I'm just trying to make sense of it. I would have picked it up. I think it is a big deal that it wasn't picked up.
I think I saw the list of like NFL players that were drafted top 2 or top 3 that did not get their option picked up, and the
Hmm.
list was depressing.
Oof. Okay. Um, let's go ahead and just jump over to the comment mailbag. Wrap the episode up. We have, let's see. Oh boy, this is an interesting one. These comments are pretty far back and a little outdated, so we're gonna read them anyway. Shout out to Bloodklot. We got 2 comments from our last episode together. KDot. I still feel like Jeff Bezos will swoop in like an eBay sniper. How can Snyder not want more money? Seems like Jeff Bezos is walking away to prevent a bidding war and calling Snyder's bluff. With Bezos' money, he can build a stadium with full control by not taking any taxpayer money. I made a sloppy photo meme on my phone and posted it below. I'm now going to open the link and see if there we go. That's for you guys, courtesy of Bloodklot.
Good job, Bloodklot.
Really appreciate that. I like this meme.
I
I like
like
this
the
meme quite a
meme.
bit.
As far as what you're saying, as far as Bezos coming in as a sniper, I think the sun is setting on that.
I do
I
think this is going to be Josh
also
Harris.
think another thing that you've noticed as far as one of the reasons we said Bezos might be in play is how much he had tied into the Washington area.
Mm-hmm.
If you've been paying attention, and I know it's been hard to follow in what's happening with Amazon HQ in Northern Virginia, Crystal City, or now they call it National Landing, Virginia, out there by Pentagon City.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the entire thing is at a standstill. There's now an argument about $100 and something million. Um, So it doesn't look as though his ties to the area are as firm as they were 6 months ago. I just think that if he was really interested in doing this, considering how far along it seems as though the process is going with Harris, he would have had to been more involved by now.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And then of course Tony. Shout out
All right.
Tony. Fellas, without Thursday Night Football, I would have to wait a full 6 days for a game, and I can't handle that at this point. The NFL can't just take away Thursday Night Football now. If anything, get rid of the international game. And Amit, you got to free your mind. Ever heard of the stoned ape theory? So a couple things there. One, I have not heard of the stoned ape theory. I think this is where KDot, you and I were talking about mindfulness and drugs. So maybe you know what it is. Get to that in a moment. Tony, I do want to clarify what we were talking about last time, which was that there was going to be potential for teams to play multiple Thursday night games in one season. And so we were against that. We weren't saying take away Thursday night football.
I am.
KDot was. I was not. I was not saying that. I was saying once is enough. I was saying that you shouldn't have to play more than one Thursday night football game a season if you're, say, the Washington Commanders. You play one Thursday night game, and that's that. That was where I was coming from.
I believe in oversaturation of a product can happen for anything. I believe that the reason the NFL is king is because there's so few of it. Because there's such few amount of games of it, right? If you look at the NBA, 82, too goddamn many. You look at MLB, 162, too goddamn many. Look, if the NFL was as safe as either one of those sports, we'd be playing 160 something games.
Yeah,
because
it's
it's
true.
not about the product as much as about the money and the revenue they make on the product, right? You have 162 games not because it makes sense from a competitive standpoint. It makes sense as far as how many games you can have to collect revenue. That's what it is. If it was up to MLB and they could grow their product more and fill more people in the seats, there'd be 200 games. They don't give a fuck. The thing with the NFL right now is I think we're getting to a point where the product on certain nights has become bad sometimes.
Sure. The Thursday night games in
particular
particular are typically not good. Yeah.
and I also look towards how many times have we seen, at least recently, especially come playoff time, you have guys that you are looking forward to see play in a sudden death situation, hurt, and not able to play. And the more you do this shit, the more likelihood that you're going to have Brock Purdy's and everybody starting on Sunday when you want to see the stars fucking play. And that to me is where I look at it in the sense of I'm looking for the overall health of the product, not what satiates my addiction.
Yeah, fair enough. For that, I would say they should be playing on grass. I would say grass turf. The ACL statistics over there are pretty wild. And then we got one more from ViNdOh, another OG. Shout out ViNdOh. This is with the episode with Ben Robinson, grindingthemocks.com author. Love the draft analysis, Ben. And Ben did say that we were going to take a cornerback at 16 based on his data. Over 60% of mocks in the last month have said so. And that's exactly what happened. We took, again, Mississippi State corner Emmanuel Forbes, now Commanders corner Emmanuel Forbes. I don't know if you guys talked about this yet, but NBA playoff predictions. Well, ViNdOh, I was talking to some friends and I had the Bucks winning it all. So that's where I'm at. They are now out. Bounced in 5 to playoff Jimmy, which I know Jimmy Butler says it's not real. He is a liar. It is absolutely a thing. His numbers skyrocket. He's averaging 37 or 38 points a game right now, and 98 points in the last 2 games or something like that. The only other person to do that in a 2-game span in history in the playoffs is Michael Jordan. Playoff Jimmy's real. He's also only ever scored 40-point games in the playoffs. 7 of them, maybe 8 of them, 0 in the regular season. There are way more regular season games than playoff games. I had the Bucks. I was wrong. KDot, what about you?
So I'll preface this with what you just said. My favorite player in the NBA is Jimmy Butler. Has been for years.
It's a monster.
The moment that he became my favorite player is if you have not heard this story, there's a story about what happened at practice in Minnesota a few years ago with Jimmy
epic
Butler,
story,
which is my favorite NBA story of all time. And if you want to laugh, Bleacher Report for years has been doing an animated show called Game of Zones, and they do an episode based on the Jimmy Butler thing that happened in Minnesota. And if you want to cry laughing, it's great because it's all fucking true. And
It's definitely true. The way he's
so
playing
true.
right now, it's 1,000% true.
I still, my pick has been Philadelphia, and they've been my pick the last 4 fucking years. So I'm sticking with it because I'll be right eventually. And still one of those things that I'll always look at is that if Butler just stayed in fucking Philly, they'd already have a goddamn championship. But
Yeah.
I think I do want to since we're done with the pod, I'm gonna go a little longer on this for a second.
Sure.
The Jimmy Butler thing against Milwaukee, because I haven't gotten a chance to do my other pod, so I have thoughts. There's no coach in the NBA that frustrates me more than Mike Budenholzer. Has been for 3 or 4 years now. If you want to see a man lose his mind, go ahead and search the podcast All Sorts of Sports. It's on YouTube. It's another show I do. And if you look at that Milwaukee Bucks playoff run to win the championship, you'll see me yell every goddamn episode about the shitty offensive game plan of Mike Budenholzer and how much I wanted him to do different things with Giannis. And when he finally fucking did it, guess what happened? They won goddamn games. If you look at this series, especially this last game, you see a Milwaukee Bucks team that looked scared, lost, had no concept of anything. When you look at the final plays in regulation, no timeout to advance the ball,
which was crazy.
What? Then you end the game in OT with Grayson Allen doing a Euro step and can't fucking get the ball out on time. What the fuck was that?
I could not believe that.
It takes nothing away from Jimmy, but because once again, Jimmy's my favorite player. I don't think playoff Jimmy exists. I think he's Himothy. Himothy. That's my guy. Himmy Butler. All right? He's him. And Jimmy really does the same. The thing, Jimmy does the same thing every fucking year. At the beginning of the season, he looks good. He goes on stretches in the beginning of the season, looks like pretty fucking good. Then he goes through a stretch where he's like, he doesn't give a fuck. Then he goes through a stretch where he looks like he's the fucking MVP. Then depending on where they're at with playoff seeding, you'll either see him give a fuck or not give a fuck. And then when the playoffs show up, you get him. Yes. That's every year. That's just Jimmy Butler. Go watch the trend. That is who he is as a dude. I study this guy. If you got a dude that's been going off the way he does, you don't think about double teaming. You don't think about switching Drew Holiday off and maybe getting some help with Giannis on him. Maybe just a little bit. No, you don't make any adjustments. After you just saw what he did in game 4.
I know. You
roll out the exact same game plan in game 5 and don't move from it. I'm sorry. That was fucking ridiculous. Like, it's not that an 8 seed beat a 1 seed. Like, that's crazy. It's they did it in 5 games. And they did it against the best player in the world, which is Giannis Antetokounmpo, who had a rough night last night. You look at what he did from the free throw line. You look at how there was shades of Ben Simmons at the end where he was trying to get rid of the ball because he didn't want to go to the free throw line, which looked really, really fucking bad.
Right.
And we always knew he struggled when it comes to the free throw line. I mean, there was the countdowns that people were doing in the playoffs. They were always fucking with him as far as that goes. But the thing with Giannis is that up until last night, you never saw him afraid to do it. Like, even with Hack-a-Shaq, when Shaq knew that he was going to go to the free throw line, he was never afraid to go. It just wasn't going to go in. Like, you take it into account, right? You can't be afraid to go. So, yeah, I still think Giannis is the best player in the world. And, look, when they look at this and it's looked upon as a bad mark on Giannis, you also got to remember he didn't play most of the series. He was hurt.
Talking about this one?
Giannis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He missed a game. He missed a game and a half.
2.5 games. It's 2.5.
What's 2.5? Did he miss game 3? Oh, hold on. Did he miss game 3? I'm trying to think about that. He missed game 3. Yeah, he did.
Missed 2.5 games.
Then came back, got a triple-double. They lost. And then 38 and 20. They lost again. But 13 missed free throws as well.
Defensively, what are you doing? You're not double-teaming Jimmy Butler when he's going off. So it's like Giannis can do everything he can do, right? And I'm always of the idea that you look at your superstars and
a 1 seed losing at 5 is wild.
No, that's part's bad. Yeah. But the person I look at more than anything that cannot be, you cannot overlook him is Mike Budenholzer.
Yeah,
and don't me wrong, he's a lovely dude.
I'm putting most of the blame on him for this series.
You got to.
Yeah.
Jesus
which
Christ,
is unfortunate. I wanted to add one more comment that literally just came in on the fly. This is from Oliver, who you will remember, Penn State guy. He's been on the pod before. Said the Jahan Dotson pick last season was a good one. And I quote, "Damn, I liked Gonzalez better." And so that is going to wrap up the show. This was District Divided, a DC sports podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate it. Please comment. We have the comment mailbag every single week where we read the comment out, we react to it, we interact with you guys. And like the video, we really appreciate you guys listening. And what is that face, KDot? What's going on here?
Did the Chargers just like Levis?
No, of course not.
Let's stay with this for a second.
Okay.
Just for a second.
There's no chance in hell they took Will Levis.
Why is Levis standing up? Why is he celebrating with his family?
Because he's irritated or something.
We didn't miss him get picked, did we?
Maybe we did. There's no way. No, the Chargers did not take. They're announcing it now. Hold on.
Okay, never mind. Sorry.
Okay.
It's just
Come on. They have Justin Herbert.
I was like, hey, what the fuck was it?
Yeah, they took a receiver to help Justin Herbert, is what they did.
They did that makes sense. That makes all the sense in the world. Yeah, that totally makes sense.
Clearly a DC sports podcast.
I like the Charger. I like Justin Herbert a lot.
Everyone fucking does. We will see you guys next week. Till then, take it easy.
In DC, we're just hoping that you listen.
It's good. Jets.
I hate that that's a hairstyle.
Will McDonald, Iowa State rusher. Okay. Commanders on the clock. I will say this. So Ben Robinson had him on last week. 60%, 60% had us taking a corner round one.
And it's
lined up perfectly for that.
We have all but one guy is still on the board.
And only Devin Witherspoon's gone so far.
Yep.
So we have, if we were to go by that data, now in his mock draft, he has us taking Deontay Banks.
I don't take Banks over Gonzalez, but that's just me personally.
I mean, he also had Gonzalez. A lot of people had Gonzalez gone by now.
That's my thing.
So now the question is,
I don't know why Gonzalez is falling.
So
it's been a crazy draft.
It's just been a crazy draft. The Lions took Jahmyr Gibbs, second running back. Like the whole thing's been strange.
If I was in charge of a team, I'd pick one of those two guys and have no fucking problem.
They have DeAndre Swift. They have David Montgomery. Couldn't they have done something else? Like, I'm sure he would have been there late first. You can trade back in late first. It's going to cost you less. Like, I don't really know.
Boy, Keem sent me a gif of Succession, Connor.
Okay. Oh, I'm gonna probably start Succession tonight, like the final season. I haven't started the final season. I appreciate it.
Good move, telling me.
What was it? How could it not be? I bet it's Gonzalez. I think it's Christian Gonzalez because if it's in that quickly,
unless they knew they wanted Levis.
Are
we about to?
No, wait, no, don't.
Are we about to get Will Levis?
No.
We're about to get
No, don't. KDot. Don't even joke about that.
We're about to get Will Levis.
No, bro. No, that's the new owner should block that. They should literally like it's Sam Howell.
All right, seriously though.
Yes.
Cornerback. Who? Gonzalez, Banks. What was the other kid?
Forbes? Joey Porter Jr. and Forbes. 4 different guys we can take.
Everything I've seen, they have Forbes high.
They do have Forbes high.
They have Forbes high. I go Gonzalez, but I wouldn't be surprised if they went Forbes. I never believed I never heard us really linked to Deontay.
Yeah, it's definitely.
It'll probably be Forbes, and I don't know how I feel about it
yet. I'm actually kind of in the same boat, just because they would have done their homework and they'd like this guy. Look, they took Jahan Dotson last year. Pleased with the pick. He had a, of course, we went to commercial. Everyone knew that would happen during our Commanders pick. So we have time here. So Forbes, okay.
Or Gonzalez, Gonzalez to me seems to be the pick. And because of that is the reason I don't think we're picking him.
Yes, this lines
that make
up
sense?
so well. Yeah. In fact, it makes so much logical sense in our heads that it won't happen.
Because I think this coaching staff is particular about the guys that they like, and they don't look at necessarily the draft boards the way that we look at draft boards.
Right.
Like, as much as we liked the Jahan Dotson pick, it was still a bit of a surprise when it happened, right? So, like,
Mhm.
there's always the thing that probably makes the most sense in our heads, and even without dance sign interference, there's a little tweak. There's always a little tweak. And like, God, man, there's some quality dudes that I really like still on the board. I'm still surprised there are no wide receivers that have been taken so far, from what I can recall. And I love Zay Flowers out of Boston College. I'm a
Okay.
Boston College head. I just know we're not going to do that. If we did, I'm going to lose my fucking shit.
Okay, so do we agree corner? We're going corner.
I think it's got to be corner.
I think it's got to be corner as well. And you're
I'm
thinking
actually
Emmanuel.
surprised we didn't trade out, but it's got to be corner.
So do you think it is Emmanuel Forbes for sure? Rank them. Actually, here's a fun exercise. So we have Forbes, Banks, Joey Porter Jr., and Christian Gonzalez. If you were to rank them
how I see it, or rank them how I think they see it.
How you think they see it?
Forbes, Gonzalez, Porter, Banks. I think that's how they see it. I'm not one that subscribes to that same thing.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's like
I like
Forbes,
Porter more than people like
Porter, Gonzalez, Banks. I don't see them
having a good press corner.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sick and tired of seeing dudes play so fucking far off the ball. I want a good physical press corner.
Think about it. This could be the first time in a long time we've had a healthy D line to start the season. Jamin Davis made huge steps last season. And now you can have someone in the secondary alongside Cam Curl, Derek Forrest, who played quite well as a rookie. Like, you could make this thing really, really cool with the right corner. The points to get it right. We ultimately don't know with these guys, right? They're all draft picks. EDP, like, it's based off of public perception. Ultimately, what matters is coaching and landing spot. That's always what matters.
That's the thing. Is like we go back. We haven't hated their draft picks. I will say there's been, looking at it historically, there was, I guess, a little more success during the Jay Gruden era than people want to give him credit for, as far as draft picking goes.
Yeah.
But my thing, if they have a guy they like, go get him. Whether or not it's right or not gets told on the tape or on game day. But with the draft, if you have a guy you like, go get them. I don't care about ADP or any of that bullshit.
Right.
Go get the guy you like. I have my own thoughts. But I'm not the guy making the choices, and we don't get to make a wish kid. All right.
Let's see.